I'm Stephanie with the City of Austin Watershed Protection, and I'm going to be talking about aquatic animals. An aquatic animal is an animal who has to live in water. Some animals have to spend their entire lives in water, while other animals only have to live in water for part of their lives. An example of an animal that spends its entire life in water is Austin's endangered Barton Springs salamander. This salamander has thin skin and external gills that depend on water to flow over them. The blood vessels in the gills and skin will absorb oxygen from the spring water. This means a salamander must always stay in its aquatic habitat, and it requires clean, flowing water to live. When it is time for the female salamander to lay eggs, she will move deeper down into the aquifer and lay her eggs on rocks. When the baby salamanders hatch, they are flushed out of the aquifer and will live in the water near the spring openings. Some aquatic animals can actually leave the water for a little bit, but still require an aquatic habitat to stay alive. An example of this is the red swamp crawfish. This animal has internal gills. So long as the gills stay damp, they can still absorb oxygen from the environment. Time for the female to lay eggs. She will attach them to the underside of her abdomen where she can keep them safe and oxygenated in the water. Crayfish can also dig burrows on land, but near enough to streams that they fill up with water. In these burrows, the eggs will hatch and the baby crayfish will stay with their mother for 2 months before they leave to go live in the creek. A group of animals must be aquatic to survive as babies, but as adults, they don't need the water. They fly, breathe air, and they only return to the water to lay eggs where the babies will live. An example of this is a dragonfly. Its baby is called a nymph and will live in the water until it turns into an adult. Another example is a non-biting midge. As adults, they fly in the air. Their babies are called larvae, and they must live and pupate in the water after they hatch from aquatic eggs. There are many kinds of aquatic animals and even semi-aquatic animals. Which ones have you seen when you've explored your watershed? For additional educational materials, including a mask you can print out in color of our endangered Barton Springs salamander, go to austintexas.gov/watershed/youth ed.